Ready for everyone's favorite topic? It's cybersecurity terminology. We're going to cover some of the key terms, the acronyms, and the concepts there so you can feel more confident and have informed conversations about your cybersecurity posture, whether that's with your internal IT department or your IT service provider. Now, some of these terms you're probably already familiar with, and I'm not going to go deep in each one of these. The idea here is to give you a working knowledge of just how all these things work together, and you can connect the dots and understand how they all fit into your broader cybersecurity strategy. Now, let's start with this one that you probably are well familiar with, antivirus. Antivirus software has been around forever. You've seen McAfee's, the Nortons, and pretty much every device that you buy comes with a free trial version baked in that you then have to get rid of. And these are good, and there's a lot of other tools that we use, things like AVG and Bitdefender or Panda. And they had free or freemium options that small and mid-sized businesses have leaned on for years, and they worked until they didn't. They weren't really adequate in protecting our devices. Antivirus really is just one slice of the cybersecurity pie. It's no longer enough on its own. Think of antivirus like a fence around your yard. It's great at keeping out the things that it knows about, the stray dogs and neighbor kids, but it relies on a library of known threats to keep that stuff off of your machine. And the problem with that is that library needs to constantly change and be updated. Threat actors, the bad guys, are always finding new ways to sneak in, and antivirus alone can't keep up with that. That's why we need more tools. And this became even more critical post-COVID when people started working not just remotely, but across a lot of different devices, including personal ones. And so the whole game of cybersecurity really changed. Before we get more into that topic, I want to come back to firewalls for just a second and talk about that, because that's another term you're likely already familiar with or you've heard before. Firewalls are a networking appliance, and it sits between you and the internet. They're another line of defense, and they block unauthorized access points, and they're great at helping protect your network and your devices from those external threats. But just like antivirus, firewalls aren't a set-it-and-forget-it solution, even though a lot of businesses treat them that way, unfortunately. They require management and tuning and ideally other supporting tools working alongside them. And that's what brings us to some of the newer topics or software and tools that are now available. We're going to start with endpoint detection and response, or we frequently call it EDR. And EDR is a tool that monitors your endpoints or your devices, and it's looking for suspicious activity and threats. Now, when you can get versions of EDR that we call MDR, Managed Detection and Response. And essentially what that means is that you're paying someone to manage that EDR tool for you. You get a team that are actively looking for threats and they're responding to things in real time, not just getting alerts saying, hey, something happened. Someone's already working on your behalf to resolve or defend against it. Now, lastly, there is ITDR. ITDR stands for Identity Threat Detection and Response, and this is about protecting the digital identities, your email accounts, the logins and credentials, especially as they move across devices and environments. These days, your identity might be used on your work laptop, your personal iPhone, and an iPad at a client site. Every one of those is a potential vulnerability or attack vector. Now, at Anneal Tech, we talk about a lot about the idea called defense in depth. What that means is that we're layering security tools, and yes, there's overlap, but each layer works together to protect different aspects of your environment. Antivirus, firewalls, EDR, MDR, ITDR, they all play a role in keeping you safe. Let's look at a couple other acronyms here that you've probably heard before. MFA, multi-factor authentication. You're probably used to it with online banking. Get a code via text or email that verifies that it's really you. That's the basic form. The stronger version involves an app on your phone, like the Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator app, and they generate time-based codes that are unique to your identity. MFA adds a second layer of protection, and while it can feel like a little bit of a hassle, it's a huge improvement in keeping accounts secure. If MFA is frustrating, know that there are other options that are maybe not less intrusive, but easier to work with. And we can help you explore that, but we'll save that for a future episode all on its own. Right alongside MFA is SSO, or single sign-on. Single sign-on lets you connect services to one core identity like your work email. So instead of juggling passwords for every app that you use, you log in once, and that identity authenticates you across the board. It's simpler for users and easier for companies to manage. Onboarding and offboarding become much more streamlined when everything is tied to a single login. Finally, let's talk about patch management. This is one that I think a lot of people sleep on and they need to pay more attention to. What is patch management? Think of it as just a software update. That's really all it is. Patches, they fix bugs, they improve performance, or they close up security holes. Patch management is the process of making sure those updates are applied consistently and quickly, and it's critical because outdated software can become a weak point that threat actors exploit to gain access to your systems. Now, a solid patch management plan ensures that the software you use, everything from your operating system to tools like even Adobe Acrobat, for example, is always up to date and protected. All of these tools and concepts work together. A mature cybersecurity strategy includes each of them to some degree tailored to your business. Not every tool will be used the same way across every company. The way that you implement EDR or ITDR depends on the number of users and devices and locations and workflows. There's a lot that can be taken into account. Anyone that's offering a one-size-fits-all approach, they're kind of missing the point. I hope this breakdown helps you feel more prepared to have productive conversations and that you feel more confident with this. If you have more questions or you're curious about a term that we didn't cover, shoot us an email at inquiries@annealtech.com. We're happy to help you navigate this.